Good morning, students. I'm Dr. Yarbrough, your instructor for the summer course of management. And I just wanted to briefly go over the information for the essay so that we can clearly be on the same path and the same page when it comes to completing the essay, because I do want you to do well. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Just a moment. Okay, so here is the information that you will see from the management essay. Here you'll see that the actual project information is there, where there's an actual layout for each paragraph that you should have included into your essay. You know that you have to have your company has to be a national or multinational company. And we've already kind of clarified that because you had to submit the company's name previously. So we are talking about the challenges that and major challenges that the company has faced. Many companies face challenges on a regular basis. I think someone mentioned one of the airline industries. And so they've had a continuation of problems that they've had to deal with. And so those are the type of challenges that we're talking about when we're talking about the essay in the company that has faced those types of challenges. Since we've experienced COVID, a lot of the companies have not been able to rebound from that. And so here you'll see that I talk about the restaurant industry and how there's been a lack of staff. And that has been a continue on and external factors that have faced issues within that particular industry. So if you select a restaurant, or if I selected a restaurant industry, I would give the background information about that company, as much background if you would need, because you're writing for your audience to understand exactly what's going on. So I will write about and give background information about the founder, how it all started, the current layout of the company, how many exist, where the headquarters is, what have you, whatever information that you want to give about the background, and then go on into the challenges that the company has faced, those problems that currently exist. And so then you'll need to talk about some of the concepts that were discussed during the summer term. And I know it's been a swift summer, but some of those concepts that we've talked about, and just now in chapter 6, we're talking about organizational strategy. And so you can use a SWOT analysis to try to identify some of those strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so that can help you understand if this company has an advantage in the market. Will they be able to sustain? What can you advise this company do? If you were the CEO, or if you were on the management team and in that room and they ask you, what is it that you can do to help this company to survive? Can you provide us with some type of suggestions, which companies will do often when you're in that managerial role? And we see that happen. I like to give the example about Red Lobster and how they were on the brink of bankruptcy, and they were going to go ahead and file, close some. They did close a lot of their restaurants, and but one of their executives, a young guy, I think at that particular time he may have been 36 years old, decided that he wanted to go in, and if they would give him an opportunity, he would save Red Lobster. And so that individual came in, and he listened to what the people had to say, and that's a key part of being a manager, listening. I'm sorry. And so he took the advice of the people and some of the suggestions, and brought back some things that they previously had on their menus, and made changes that he thought would benefit the company. And he indeed saved that company. I'm so sorry. So here, if we click the summer 2026 project, and that's basically some of the information that we've gone over. But here I have the instructions outlined for you. Again, the overview of the company's name, brief descriptions of its products, mission statement, any information that you feel is pertinent for me to understand who the company is, because I have not researched your company, and so you're telling me about it. And then you're going to go into the crisis identification, telling me about those challenges that they face, whether they've been an external, economic, technological, legal, ethical, or social issue. Identify, what has happened, and then the impact that this crisis has had on the organization. Have they lost? Have their sales plummeted? Have they lost profits? Are they not able to keep their employees? Have they had to do a mass layoff? What has happened? What type of crisis has impacted this organization? Um, and then you'll key in on their financial operations, their reputation, anything that human resources has it mentioned that it affects the company itself. And any examples that you want to provide that supports what you're saying, anything that was listed on the website from the news or any kind of public statements that were made about the company, just like with Red Lobster, they had to come out and state that they were going to close a lot of the restaurants, and all that made the news, and then filing bankruptcy and all of that. And then management has to respond. They probably have a team of employee executives that they try to come together and they try to identify issues and how they can resolve those issues so that they can sustain the company. And so the CEO has to make the decision based on that information that is given to him. So how did management respond? What type of actions did they take? So that's what I'm looking for in that section. And then if you go down to application of concepts, so again, here you can use any of these. You can talk about how the management functions will be instrumental in helping the company with its long-term survival. If there's more planning that's needed, organizing. If it's leading, that means that they need a change in management and change in CEOs. Are they controlling the process as they should? So have to be familiar with those terms to discuss how that would help the company going forward. Again, you can select the management skills, those technical skills, human skills, motivational skills, or you can simply complete a SWOT analysis, as we talked about with Chapter 6. And then the gap analysis is what management failed to address. And so you're gonna talk about that in the previous paragraph when you talk about those challenges. But was there anything that they missed when they decided they were going to go in and make those changes and to try to make sure that the company is moving forward? Did they miss anything? Did they not consider the weaknesses that the company had? So that's what you're going to talk about when it comes to get to the gap analysis. And then the proposed improvement plan is simply what you believe. I want to know what you think based off all the information, all the research that you have gathered. How could you, if you were sitting in that seat, how would you make improvements to the response plan to help this company so that it can maintain its survival within this industry? And so you need to provide clear objectives and a plan for going forward in this particular section. And then the last section is simply expected outcomes. What do you think the expected outcomes would be based upon what you've implemented? Do you think that based on your research that the company will maintain, it could likely um, gain more profits, um, just based on whatever information that you have found moving forward? What do you believe your expected outcomes are? So here in the last two sections are what you believe. You tell me what you believe could happen based upon your research. And then your conclusions are simply just concluding and giving an overview of your essay. And so again, that essay is due on July 19th, which is next Sunday. You have to have at least three credible sources. That means that you need to have, if it's a website, that website needs to be based upon your company or journals or information that is credible, that you can use and you can cite. Most people have more than three references, but I just normally say three sources or references so that you can have enough valid information to support your essay. If you have more, that is certainly fine. Again, you have to make sure that you are citing In the works cited reference section, which is the last page, it's on the page by itself. And you also need to make sure that you're properly citing within your essay. That is APA. You have to make sure that that information that you're stating in your essay belongs to someone else. And you're telling me that this is not my information. I read it, someone else published it, and this is what is stated. And so when you're dealing with particular years and numbers and information that you can clearly tell that it's not your information. And so you always have to use proper citation within your text. So just for instance, in your main first paragraph about the background information, you're telling me about where the company was founded, who the company's CEO is, the mission and vision statement, those types of things. And so after you complete that paragraph and wherever you found it from, you would put either the website, if there's no author, and the year of publication, or you would put the author's last name and the year of application, such as it'll say Yarborough, comma 2026, and then it'll have open and closed parentheses with the period at the end. And so that's what you would have if you were citing within your text. And so we don't give our authors or our websites or our news sources credit for using their information, then that is considered plagiarism. So we don't want to do that. So make sure that you are um, completing that correctly. Here is Purdue Owl. Is on the main page as well. This is just some sources where you can check and you can go here and it's running a little slow. But if you click on um, Purdue Owl, it will pull up a section so that you can actually see that there is a paper that it outlines APA style. APA style, again, has proper citations within the text, and you have a reference page that's by itself. APA has headings. You have an introductory page, and usually there's numbers on each page, but if you don't do that this time, that's perfectly fine. I won't count out for page numbers. And your paper should be double spaced. So just consider all that information and make sure that you're reviewing all of this information that is within the link for this the instructions, and then proper the rubric that goes along with this. And if you can will receive an A, B, C, D, and if you don't complete it all, then it is an F. So that is the information that I wanted to share with you guys and make sure that we were all on the same page when it comes to completing the essay. So I'm going to stop sharing that information. So I hope that this brief summary of the essay instructions and what it brings you guidance and clarity. If you have any questions, please reach out to me prior to Sunday. Send me an email or inbox me. Just let me know if you have any questions that you wanted me to clarify that have not been clarified through this video. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to reviewing all of your essays on your management company. Thank you.